tour guide told us, because there are also
what did Neil
random
say?
Neil, he was my favorite person.
I love that. Hey, tour guides in New Orleans are just
amazing.
like, I would give them my left arm if they asked me.
No, because then they'll use it for voodoo.
Do it. You don't even know what the fuck voodoo is. Don't piss me off.
Brujeria. It's just Cajun brujeria.
It's not. It's literally not. They like explained it to us and we were like,
really?
so white people are just fucking crazy.
Well,
they were like, you know what voodoo
that.
is? You know what they use like voodoo dolls for? And we were like, I mean, no,
you can still
not
get
really.
we
think it's to like, you know, like revenge or whatever. They were like, no, if you would go to like a voodoo, like, I don't know, I don't remember what they call them, but you would go and you would say like, my shoulder is hurting, and they would be like, where does it hurt? And then you would point out, and then they would grab a little doll, and then they would mark it where you said it hurts, and then that's it. It's for medical records. They were like, that's just it.
They're just curanderas?
That's literally not even, because they're not doing anything with them. They would just save it, and then they would take it as like a medical record of like, they said that this hurts, and they can use it like later on,
how
whatever.
voodoo became medical records?
Like,
wild.
Unbelievable. Like, white people are just, I swear to stop. Just like, if it's not about you, step aside. Leave it alone.
I think the Hispanics came in on that one though, because in Mexico, I don't know how it is in Venezuela, but I'm sure it is very similar in terms of how Mexico is with like brujeria. Like
they're very scared of it. We have like santeros, which it's kind of the same.
Yeah, they're like curanderos.
They have like
I guess like
in Mexico they're very big on like voodoo.
A lot is like folklore mixed with like voodoo.
Very Catholic,
voodoo in Mexico is revered as like the origin of brujeria.
Oh,
so they like take it. They're like, no, we got this from them.
Seriously.
Like we didn't take. There was no such thing as it like pre-Columbus time.
Yeah.
So like there was like sacrifices and stuff like that, but none of it was brujeria. Like
that shit was hella Aztec.
It was just like that was like, but that was part of their culture. But now in terms of like brujeria, they were like they see voodoo as its origin, so it was brought over during the like.
I'm sure there's some sort of like weird like
what,
fork in the road. Where, like,
for sure.
It went to the Caribbean and then it went to
because in Mexico like brujeria, like they amarros are like real, or whatever. Like and they use dolls to do amarros.
Bro, I don't know anything about that shit. All I know is that Mexicans like where brujeria starts and where folklore begins is a very blurred line. So Mexicans be doing some weird shit that comes from that kind of like that root of the tree, and I'm just looking at like my mom's like, stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Get the clothespin away from your belly button. You're pregnant. You're gonna stab yourself. Like
I still have
don't be doing that shit.
I literally still have like a pair of pants that I wore when I was pregnant that have like a safety pin with the red eagle in it.
Stop. And not a one full moon during your entire pregnancy.
There was 2 full moons. There was actually an eclipse during my pregnancy. So my mom was like very much like you need to wear your thing.
I don't know any of that, but
in Mexican culture, somehow, somewhere, somebody decided, no, I'm not even gonna say decided. It's been passed down.
Yeah.
It's been passed down
Don't water it down.
During a full moon, pregnant women are more susceptible to something.
Well, it's because they so the way that they explained it to me, and even Dad was on it, so I was like very confused. It's the way that the moon and the earth sit at the time of an eclipse or at the time of any sort of full moon is it's been known, the moon is associated with water, right?
Yeah.
The pull and pull of the water.
The gravity of the moon affects the tides.
The idea is the fact that when you're pregnant, you have majority water inside you. The baby actually isn't even that much in there. Like like the big 20 pounds that you're carrying is actually like 6 pounds baby. The rest is just water.
Yeah.
So they say that whenever there's a full moon, there's a different sort of pull that's happening.
Yes.
So they always say that you need to be careful.
And the way to fix that is to put a safety pin
I don't know
on
how
your pants
or why, but that is the case.
on the outside of your belly button, because despite the gravity pull of the moon has on the water in your belly, the safety pin is the answer.
Negates that.
You don't know, but you say it as a joke. You don't know that. Maybe there's some fucking metal in the damn safety pin that interferes with the fucking gravity of the moon.
Yeah.
I don't know. We didn't do. I mean, the thing too is I was born in Venezuela, but my mom's side of the family, which I grew up with the most, is all Colombian. So I don't want to say that there's nothing like that in Venezuela. There's santeros and stuff like that, and I do think that some of their gods are very similar or the same as those in Voodoo. So I think it's one of those what do you call it? denominations, I guess, in some way, or like it comes from like what you're saying, like brujeria comes from voodoo. It's kind of like that, but most of Venezuelans are like Catholic, so we don't fuck with that. Like, they don't fuck with that. The craziest thing we do is like for some reason they think that when babies have hiccups, like you put like a little un hilito, like a little thread, like on the fucking forehead, and somehow that takes the hiccups.
You see what I'm saying? The face that Bree just made is the face I made my entire childhood. Whenever my mom's like doing some shit, and I'm just like.
Listen, I get it, and like when I'm little, like I'm also like that sounds crazy. But if I had a baby and that baby had fucking hiccups, I would be like, whatever. I'm putting a fucking thread on their forehead.
I'm like, yes, go ahead, put the Vicks all over my feet.
A lot of the things that like have been passed down, there are some like medical like validity. There is some medical validity behind it, but they didn't know that. So like they just assumed that the patterns that they noticed were, and
that's untrusting culture,
like,
baby.
Yeah, so like they just assumed it was some sort of magical thing that was happening.
Yeah.
Thus, they started creating a like a pattern to go behind it, just for trust. Like
that's what I'm saying.
People in the rancho, like even though they were Catholic, even though they had all these like things, there was no way of communicating in a third world country. Right. So like 100%. That was literally the one way that they could like pass that shit down. And a lot of the things that they would say. Now that especially for pregnant stuff, I don't know about the other stuff. The other stuff's a little weird. But like when it comes down to the pregnant stuff, some of the stuff is grounded on just actual medical stuff that they didn't really realize that they were actually saying. But it works. Ended up being real.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, listen, I may not know why, but like I'm not gonna tell my grandma that she's wrong.
Oh, I'm definitely not gonna tell my grandma that she's wrong.
Like I'll do it.
Definitely not telling any grandma.
If it's not gonna kill me, I'll do it.
Yeah, I would not. Definitely not. I would not. I'm not religious at all.
I'm respecting my culture. You know what I mean? Whether I believe it, whether I don't, it doesn't matter. I'll do it.
I'm not religious in the slightest, other than like I have a deep respect for it.
Until you go see grandma.
But
if
whenever every single time grandma's like, mijo, para el santo del viaje or whatever the hell the fuck she says, I'm like, yeah, grandma, fuck it up. Like
that ass.
Yeah. I'm like, you get it, grandma, fucking
bars. The hardest thing for me is like seeing like uncles or like when family comes to visit and they're like, how's everything? It's so hard for me to not be like, todo bien, gracias a Dios.
Oh yeah.
Sí, I've never said gracias a Dios in my entire life.
I do. It's a habit.
Never. But it's only with grandma though. It's only when grandma. Like if uncles, mom, dad, like mom would be like, come do the rosary for Christmas, and I'm like, I'll be there New Year's.